Gaming Bolt presents scary Fallout 4 locations you should probably avoid. We have quite a bit to cover here, so let us dive right in. Skylines Flight 1981. When you first arrive here, there's a ton of ghouls attacking a hapless raider. These aren't your ordinary ghouls though. For some reason, they're all named Mr. This and Miss This. If you head into the cockpit, you'll discover the last moments of the pilot before the crash. Dunwich Borers. Dunwich Borers looks like an unsuspecting dig site at first glance. Dig deeper, because, well, it's a dig site, and you'll uncover a mess of unpleasant things. Hallucinations, haunting terminal messages, including the memorable "I'm safe in the light," and tons of mysterious ghouls inhabit this site. Pickman's Gallery. Pickman's Gallery is a thing of beauty. It's essentially a window into the world of a maniacal serial killer. Heads on wooden pikes and demented paintings are only the beginning, but it's even crazier when you meet Pickman himself, who seals his affection for you with a bloody note. At least he gives you a really cool knife though. Museum of Witchcraft. Salem is a town full of violent history, especially considering the witch burnings that took place. In Fallout 4, it's equally terrifying. We won't spoil the whole thing for you, but keep a lookout on mannequins and death claws. Other than that, things should go swimmingly. Sandy Cove's Convalescent Home. The pre-war retirement home isn't the creepiest location in the game, but there is something about the ambience, especially considering how all the residents dead, but Mr. Handy's continue to tend to their needs. Of course, the rad scorpion claws and rad stag head hanging on the walls doesn't exactly scream normal. Glowing Sea. The Glowing Sea on its own is incredibly intimidating. Considering it's the ground zero site of the war, the Glowing Sea is perhaps the place that best fits the Fallout name. It's ultimately the enemies in the Glowing Sea that make it horrible, especially at night. Railway Control House Basement. As noted before, there are plenty of random locations in Fallout 4 that are home to the creepiest of occurrences. If you happen by a railway control house and travel to the basement, you'll find a corpse hooked up to a battery of sorts. The entire basement comes off as a torture chamber of sorts, with its various tools and devices. That Garage. If you travel to Milton General Hospital and look around, you'll find an intriguing little parking garage dungeon. Intrigue shortly gives way to horror as you realise the place is a maze full of enough deadly traps to make Jigsaw proud. As if the corpses and toy monkeys with their glowing red eyes weren't enough, there are tripwire traps and bombs. HALLUCIGEN Inc. If you think the Dunwich Borers was the only place that dabbled in hallucinations, HALLUCIGEN Inc. goes several steps forward. The corporation was actually meant as a means to weaponize the gas floating about, and you'll come across several NPCs of the same faction fighting each other at times. There's also a point where you can trigger a variety of different kill switches to deal a terrible hand to said NPCs. Parsons State Insane Asylum. What's creepier than a world that's been nuked to oblivion? It's not quite deathclaws and ghouls, but the Parsons State Insane Asylum comes pretty close. That's because the place is in pristine condition, and by pristine, we mean it's pretty much like any normal asylum would look like before the Great War. That being said, crazy things are afoot here, especially when it comes to finding Lorenzo and being on your merry way. Forest Grove Marsh. We hope you like collecting mutated fern flowers, because that's pretty much all you're going to get in the Forest Grove Marsh. Along with lots of irradiated water, the area is crawling with feral ghouls just waiting to take a bite out of you. General Atomics Galleria. The General Atomics Galleria is a strange location because, well, there aren't any people in the area. The town is run entirely by the robots. To make things even more interesting, these robots essentially attack you with the slightest bit of provocation. Federal Surveillance Center. Federal Surveillance Center K-21B, like many locations in Fallout 4, is a place with an interesting and sad story. The area was meant for surveillance experts in the government to survive and continue spying after the bombs dropped. Unfortunately, the corpse outside of the cellar door is your first hint that things didn't go quite so well. Vault 75. The backstory behind Vault 75 is fairly dismal. Meant to save the children of Malden Middle School, the Vault Tech security proceeded to kill all the adults. The children were herded off based on their genes. Those who didn't make the genetic cut, well, they didn't make it. Mannequins, bathtubs, horror. There are mannequins everywhere in the world of Fallout 4, and there's a particular set in the Concord that are quite terrifying. If you take the chance to explore around, you'll find a corpse in bed, while 3 mannequins with machetes and the like surrounding a beheaded skeleton in the bathtub. Fen Street Sewer. Another serial killer. This one, dubbed the Fens Phantom, is an eclectic mix of crazy. Though with his victims chained inside doghouses, beheaded and replaced with cow skulls and other depraved craziness. There also seems to be a detective that was after the Phantom, and it was the killer's interest in him that ultimately led to his undoing.
And if you like what we're doing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon.